Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Eric,
Hi,
aka the Vipers.
I'm all of the Vipers. A mean gang in Salem.
Tonight we are revisiting our 1983 Bo and Hope coverage. So we're kind of making our way through their beginnings. So I will roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So last we left off, Hope got an invitation to a party at the DiMera mansion. She's really excited about this. This is where I got a little frustrated because it started to feel like it was edited like the Roman and Marlene clips were.
Yeah, I don't know what, I don't, because, yeah, it started, fading out during their scenes, and I'm like, what?
Right. And I was like, oh no, it's happening again.
I know. That lady took over. And she didn't record an SP on VHS. Some episodes were like, "Oh, and I'm like, what the fuck? I had to, turn it off.
Really? I didn't notice that.
It was really, mumbly,
Hmm.
yeah.
Um,
Well, good job. Then you have really excellent hearing, I guess. I was like, some were
um,
way better than others.
so Hope's really excited and she busts out a dress that I feel like she's worn before. I know she's definitely tried it on for Bo, but I feel like she wore that to go out with Roman.
She might have, but I'm also thinking maybe the quality is not that great, so maybe it's a different dress and it looks similar. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because
uh,
yeah, it looked a little bit more low cut than the last one, I feel like. But it did look similar, but whatever, 80s, you know.
yeah. So Doug and Julie were also invited, and everybody's worried about David. David apparently has gone missing, and he's really angry at Renee, and they don't know why. And he said he's so angry he could kill her.
And I feel like we didn't see any of David saying that.
No,
We just heard about it and he
yeah,
just went missing. And then, because every time I feel like we see David, he's just like, yeah, I'm cool, everything's
he's so
fine.
calm.
Right. It doesn't look like he's trying to kill anybody, but whatever.
So I don't. Oh, so Hope comes down in that dress, and Julie's like, "We talked about this. Like, could you put on something more less revealing?"
Yeah.
She said, "Well, the only other dress I has has a stain on it." So she's like, "Fine, I'll go change." So she goes upstairs, and I guess she says she'll meet them there. Yeah, she says she'll meet them there because
Yeah, yeah.
Bo doesn't bring her.
Right.
Bo is covering for David at the front desk. And remember when I said I wonder if the lodge that everybody lives at and Doug's place is the same place? And I said
Right.
it must be because when Bo goes home, he's in the restaurant at the bar sometimes. Well, in this scene when he was behind the check-in counter,
Yeah.
the glass behind him it said Doug's place, so it had to be attached.
Oh, okay.
It must have been in like the restaurant at the lodge that everybody goes to.
Right.
So I got confirmation.
A lot of times I don't know where they're at unless they look at the camera and I'm like, we're at Shenanigans, something like that. It's, a lot of it looks blurry to me, so I can't
Yeah.
tell which place they're at.
Well, usually when I see Danny, I know they're at Shenanigans because I feel like
Right,
that's the only set we ever see Danny at.
right. Unless he happens to not be there that day or something, or he's just stepped
Right.
away or something.
Um, Hope also in these clips seemed to still kind of be like embarrassed to be around Roman after what happened.
Yeah, she should. It was
Um,
probably just a few weeks before that.
Probably. So I don't know what this party is about. I don't know what the announcement was going to be. From what I've read or heard, I know Renee kind of like tells everybody she hates them, or she makes like this big like, yeah, you have your book. She basically just tells everybody about themselves and then ends up dead at the party.
Yeah, so yeah, she just ended up dead, and we didn't see anything of her alive, right? And I wasn't even sure who it was because until they said it, like I told you, I need them to tell me because I couldn't. I just see like a figure on the floor, and I'm like,
Who
who's
are we
that?
looking at?
And then apparently two people died. Was it the same night?
I don't think it was the same night.
Because in the one scene they said Renee and somebody else died, and I was like, oh, two people died.
Oh, maybe
Um,
I know they
but I
mentioned
don't.
another girl, but I didn't know who it was, and I didn't think it was the same night, but maybe.
Yeah, I wish
Um, but
I
we also
wrote it
found out that
somewhere.
Trista was killed.
Wait, what happened?
We also found out that Trista ends up being killed as part of
Well,
the.
she got attacked first, so I guess she died in the hospital.
Yeah,
Cause yeah, like we don't see any of her. I don't think.
because there's like mention that Marlena went to Colorado for her funeral.
Right.
Um, Hope seems to be jealous of Melissa and Bo being friendly because when he calls Melissa Sweet Pea, um,
Yeah.
Hope's eyebrow kind of arches.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, oh, and then it did come up later too, and I was like, okay,
Later.
they addressed it. See, that's good writing. That's good writing because that probably didn't come up, I think, until like the end of those clips, which was probably at least like at least 20 episodes later, maybe if not,
Hmm.
like I thought that was really good.
So at the party, it sounded Melissa and Hope are like in the barn, like playing with horses, and
Thing with horses.
they hide when they hear. Well, they went to go look at something, and then they're kind of hiding when they hear Mickey and Gwen come in,
Right.
and they overhear. From what I gathered, um, Don was made to look like he cheated on Maggie, and Mickey paid somebody to make it look like that.
Well, somebody had pictures of something. What was that? Was that the pictures of
I think
Maggie
it
in the
was
bed with
pictures
somebody?
of Don cheating, but they were altered because Mickey paid somebody, and I think maybe Maggie and Mickey are back together and they're gonna get remarried,
I
but Melissa now
real
knows the secret.
real quick, I'm going to read this, okay?
Okay.
So, feeling rejected by Tony and already divorced from David, Renee married Alex. Afterwards, she realized Daphne had found a second Stefano will that left her substantial DiMera money without any stipulations. She realized that Alex had known about this and had used her. Renee decided to expose his scheming ways in grand style during a gala at the DiMera mansion. From the staircase, she made the announcement that her new husband was an opportunist who would never touch her again. Damn, I wish this stuff was on tape. So I need to. I would love to see this episode. Then Renee took apart every one of the people she felt had wronged her. Alex, David, Doug, Julie, Anna, Daphne, and the whole Horton family. Her only true love was Tony, and even he had turned her away. Oh, this is funny. Sorry. Tony was so impressed by Renee's spirit that he gave her white roses and confessed he still loved her. They made love upstairs before he rejoined the party in the stable. In the stables, meanwhile, Eugene proposed to Trista. A lot happened at this party. Does anybody have this party? 'Cause
We see the
I
party.
really want to see it.
Well,
But
also at
suddenly,
this party, Hope met Anna's brother, Brett, I think they said his name was.
yeah, real quick. I have one more thing. But suddenly, screams came from the house. Delilah was hysterical, crying out, "Murder!" Renee was found with a knife in her back and a large black feather in her hand. I didn't see that. Julie immediately confessed, thinking David might be suspected. Yeah, this is good stuff.
We saw Julie get arrested, but we didn't see her confess.
Yeah, we didn't see her confess. Do you want me to go on? There's a little bit more.
Yeah.
I can stop. Okay. Um, wait, now I forgot. She confessed. David might be suspected. He was picked up, but didn't even know Renee was dead. Ultimately, the real cause of death turned out to be poison. The knife wound had not been fatal. Soon after Renee's murder, Nurse Kelly Chase. Oh, Kelly, I think, was murdered. Yes,
Yes.
that's who. Kelly Chase, who had evidence of Alex's connection to Stefano and some of the killings, was found dead.
Hmm.
All right, that's where I'll stop. I
Okay.
might continue that later on my own. All right, I should have read that when I was. I didn't even think to read it ahead of time. Go on.
So, um, apparently, Bo had something to do with a member of the Vipers being arrested, Pete, who we'll start to see more, I think, soon.
I was
Uh,
gonna say, did we see Pete yet? We just see other members, right?
no, but he's important, Pete Jennings, because he's like a main cast member. Um,
Right, but they talk about him a lot.
we're talking about him a lot. We haven't seen him.
Okay.
Um, so we're told this, and Bo is being harassed by members of the Vipers.
Mm,
Um, they mess around with his bike. They pull knives on him. Um,
yeah.
I think later on they go into more detail. It seems that maybe, from what I heard from certain, like it was kind of like given like little tidbits. It sounds like Pete tried to break into Marlena and Roman's house to rob them, and Marlena was a little weary about leaving to go to Colorado for the funeral because this happened. Um, and this may have been when Bo ratted Pete out to Roman, and that's when they arrested him. So I think that's how
Okay.
this all happens, going off of little things that were said.
Right.
Um, Bo is also trying to find the murderer on his own without the police help because he's a PI now.
And he thinks he can do a better job than who's on the force, because I guess he's still kind of angry at his brother.
um, Hope. He and Hope are both can't sleep and they go to shenanigans together. And once
Mm.
again, she tries to get a drink from somebody that knows her and they give her water. Like, but she says I'm almost 18. Was the drinking age 18 in 1983?
Anyone know? Because I don't.
I don't know when they switched it. I know it was 18 at one point, but I don't know when they switched it.
It probably was then, because if she said that, then that would make sense.
She said 18 like it meant something, and he was just like, but just 17. So here's water.
Right, right.
um, Bo
That was funny.
ends up getting a letter. Okay, also, why is Bo always? I feel like if this was like HBO, he'd just be naked, but because it's network TV, whenever he's in his room, he's just always just like shirtless and like.
Of
So when hope
course.
happens upon him, he's all sexy and shirtless.
Well, remember what they thought back then? Like, only women watch soaps, so they always had the shirtless guys around.
Yeah,
And
but
Bo
again,
was
if
in,
this was like HBO a short time, he'd probably be butt naked.
of course, for sure.
Or even Netflix at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
so Bo gets what seems to be a letter or a clue to the murder, but it's fake, and it's the Vipers luring him
Mm-hmm.
so that they could jump him.
Those sons of bitches.
Um, okay, Christian Alfonso's screams were like blood curdling. I was like, wow, I
Right.
don't think I've ever heard her in current day scream like that. And I was like, maybe when Zach died, she had that same blood curdling scream.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's the only like most, and that was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She really was putting her lungs to work in that scene. They were like holding her back while Bo was getting kicked, punched, stabbed. They were like
And
torturing.
they threatened to like cut her face at one point,
Did they?
but they were nice. They threatened to, yeah. They're like, we'll cut her face or something. I forget what they said.
So Hope stays with him. They leave him. They said they're not going to kill him this time. Next time, they might,
Hmm.
um, unless he leaves town. Um, they take Hope's car, and she's like, "Well, how do you expect him to leave town if you take my car?"
Yeah.
And they'll basically like figure it out.
Right.
Um, so once Hope gets him upright because he's all fucked up,
Yeah, he really is.
she apparently drives his motorcycle with him behind her.
Yeah. Yep.
And apparently, Bo has moved out of the lodge and gotten a room for rent above Shenanigans.
Yeah.
So she brings him to that room where he's all messed up.
Hmm.
She rips her sleeve off of her dress and wraps some of his wounds with it. He
And I
doesn't
guess
like it.
because
Huh?
he moved, nobody knows where he was,
Right.
right? Because he just moved, and I
Yeah.
guess he didn't tell anybody yet.
Right. Um, he doesn't want her to tell anybody or get help. She ends up having a medical bag, which I'm assuming she stole from her grandfather, Tom Horton. Where else would she have gotten a
Right.
medical bag from or had access
Yeah, I'm
to it?
guessing. Yeah.
Um, she ends up calling Kayla, and this is my first memory of Kayla. Like, and ever when I was watching the classic stuff, it was her like helping to like wrap his wounds and stuff. And I was like, oh, they had a
Right.
different Kayla. uh,
Yeah.
and I feel like at this point, because he's helping her or she's helping him, they're they're both panicked, but they're also being nice to each other, and they're kind
Yeah.
of confessing that maybe they like each other.
Like, yeah, in little tiny ways.
Right.
But they
Um,
were cute. They went through a lot,
prior
these two.
actually, prior to him being attacked, she had a dream, and it started out with her in bed and Roman kind of like over her,
That was funny.
and then Bo came into the room and he's like, Marlena's your wife. Marlena wants you," and he's like, "Oh, my wife." So it's kind of like Hope subconscious being like, he has a wife, you need to stop.
Right. And Bo
And
comes
Bo
over
was
too,
shirtless, and
of
he
course.
basically was like, "I can make you a woman," and that's how her
Mm.
fantasy ended.
Yeah. She's like, oh.
um, Hope, I hope Bo also had like a daydream about her,
Hmm.
so they're falling for each other.
Hmm.
Um,
And see, this is good writing because I like it took for a long time, to get to this point, and I
yeah.
like it. It's cool. I
Uh,
think I even teared up at one point.
did-
I did because it was so cute.
so it was these scenes that I think he called her little one, and he was like, "Oh, that's right, you don't like being called that. I have to come up with a new nickname for you."
Well, she gave him a look.
And that's
She
when
was
she was
like,
like, "Yeah," she's like, "Since," she said, "since you now call Melissa Sweet Pea," and she like looked at him like,
"Mhm.
it's like, "You said you didn't like being called that."
Yeah, yeah,
So that was a nice circle back. I was like, "Oh wow, it took them that long to circle back to it, but they did it."
yeah." Good writing, good writing.
um, Danny knows that he's up there because Hope went and got help. Hope
Yeah,
called Doug and Julie to say she was helping a friend, but she couldn't say where or when. She called that night and the next morning, so they wouldn't worry.
right.
Um, I, what else happened? I think that was it. It was a lot of him recovering and being in bed and in pain.
Yeah, there wasn't too much. There was a lot of stuff with Brett too. That's Anna's brother was coming and going, kind of like, and that was making Bo a little bit jealous when he was around. And Hope looks like she probably thought he was cute and he's being nice, and so she's kind of being all right with him. Like I guess a little flirty.
I forgot Anna had a brother because they never referenced
I
it.
had zero. I had no idea that she had a brother. She never mentions him. I've seen Anna on and off, since the thousands. I never seen her in the 80s.
Yeah,
So I had no idea that like when I started watching in the 90s, Carrie talked about her here and there, but she never mentioned an Uncle Brett or anything, or that
right.
I got.
Well, I don't think Christy Clark ever actually worked with her until like 2017. Because
Oh, and
like,
Beyond Salem?
yeah, no, I think when Carrie like visited once with Austin,
Okay.
because Christy Clark came on after she was already gone.
Okay.
She wasn't on at all in the 90s. I don't think she came back to like 2008 or 9, and Christy
Yeah, I
Clark was
forget.
on the show then.
Right.
So yeah, they never actually worked together until the
That's so funny.
last maybe
And
5 years.
she just worked with Andrea Barber, I guess, when she
Yeah.
was little. And there was that much of a jump when she never came back in the 90s, I guess then.
No, she didn't. Because I
I'm
never knew who she
surprised.
was.
Huh. I wonder, maybe they just didn't. I guess they had a lot going on and just didn't need her, for story. Or surprised they never like recasted her for like a wedding or something. I don't know.
Right?
Days is pretty good with getting the original people back a lot of times.
Yeah. But I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton. I also made note too. I thought like when Hope and Kayla were together, I'm like they kind of look alike, which is I'm kind of glad they recasted Kayla because
Mhm.
with a blonde.
I I was wondering because Kim comes on in '84, so I was wondering if at this point they knew that they were gonna do another sister, or if once they. I think this Kayla doesn't make it into '84, so maybe after she left, they're like, let's have another sister.
Hmm.
Um. Oh,
What?
apparently when Bo was asleep, he was murmuring and he mentioned
Oh yeah,
Megan,
Megan. Yes, yes.
but he didn't want to talk about it.
I know. I gotta go through my notes a little bit. So,
So that feeds into
um,
my theory from last time that I think the thing when he was 16 was that he got Megan pregnant.
right.
'Cause now they're saying her name, and she doesn't come on for a few more months. Like,
So yeah, we s- we we saw David a couple times, and he had said that he thinks Alex is the killer. So I guess they're not 100% in this.
oh, Alex Marshall. I'm like, who is Alex? Alex
Oh, you
Marshall.
should know. You knew Alex more than I did.
Yeah, Alex Marshall. Okay. I always say his
Yeah,
full name,
so
his full government name. I never just call him Alex.
I'll make notes so I write that.
It's like it's like Stefano DiMera, Vixie Kyriakis, Alex Marshall.
Right. I'll try to remember that. I'll write his full name so I remember to say it. I
He
don't know
just
how
kept
long he
saying
lives for.
Alex, and I'm like, who's Alex? I'm like thinking
Who
of
the
like a
hell
young
is
guy.
Alex? And then there's like Hope is very worried about Bo. Bo seems to be very worried about Hope, so you can see them very much falling in love. Um, what did I tear up at? I forget. It was toward the end of the clips, I think.
Was it when they kind of
Um,
like agreed that maybe they sort of like each other, and that she kind of like laid in bed with him and like cuddled?
oh, they did those thing that one, and then like remember when Hope starts kind of she starts kind of saying that she has feelings for him. Of course, he fell asleep, and
Uh-huh.
then the same thing with Bo was saying. I'm like, they do that crap all the time. And Bo, I forget what he said. He said, oh, he thanked her, and he's like, whatever, lay with me. You've been sleeping in that chair, and he's
Mm.
like, thank you for doing or whatever, doing all that you do, or something like that. And then she's asleep when he's trying to be all cute and nice. Um,
There was like a weird cringy line moment for me
which
when
one?
I think the Vipers were down in the bar and Danny came up to warn them to like not come down. And he said something like, keep the Lone Ranger at bay. And she's like, okay, Tonto. And I'm like, ugh, that's such like an, a dated reference.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, they did redo the Lone Ranger, I think, with Johnny Depp about 10 years ago. I never got to see it.
Neither did I.
I forgot about it actually until you said that. I was like, oh yeah, they did do that. And I don't think I've seen it anywhere. Like it's never on like streaming. Like it must have been real bad.
It must have been so bad. Like Dark Shadows,
Oh,
2011.
Dark Shadows was good.
I'll have to give it now that we've watched the series, I'll have to give it another shot. Maybe I'll enjoy it more.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
I was looking for it to be like a mess, like high drama, and it was like a goofy comedy.
Another thing that bothered me too, like so, Hope called Kayla to help Bo, and he got all mad. I'm like, and then he says how, you know, if you tell anything to Kayla, she'll keep it a secret. Why didn't you just get the fucking help, dude? Like you're fucking dying. Like I'm
Right.
like that got on my nerves. I'm like, why did they always have to write like guys that's so proud to like not want to get help? Like
Like,
so
you were
dumb.
stabbed, like, you're gonna get, like, gangrene if you don't get stitches.
And you have yeah, and you have fevers and chills. Like you're gonna die. Like if you don't get somebody's medical assistance.
Right.
She just gets Hope that stole a medical bag and doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. And that
So,
got on my nerves.
I know that all of this happened in October of '83. If you so
Okay.
that gives us, like, a little bit of a time frame.
Hmm.
So, we're coming to the end of '83, which is when the episodes start, the full episodes. Um, Trying to think.
I
So,
gotta I gotta
Renee's
find
death
that
is pretty
one.
much the launch of the Salem slasher.
I gotta find that episode, man. I really want to look for it. I have a couple episodes I got from somebody. I don't remember what year they're from, but I never watched them. Of course, because you know sometimes I don't. But then but I would have no clue either, like what's going on. But now with doing these, I might have an idea, of what's happening in those episodes.
Well, if it helps narrow it down, I think the party happened in September of '83.
Okay,
Oh, good luck. Godspeed.
83. Let's see. If I do, I'll try to
I feel
get
like
it to
I've
you.
seen clips of, like, Renee's, like, telling everybody off. Like, if you Google it or go on YouTube, it'll be like
Right.
Renee at the party. Like, I feel like they'll come up.
All right, I'll look for that because I do want to see that stuff. I would love to see her tell everybody off. That's great. It's
Or
great
maybe
shit.
if you
Heather would
search,
be
like,
cool.
Renee DiMera 1983, maybe there's a playlist somewhere.
Yeah,
Or Renee and Tony, maybe they have a playlist.
yeah. And we didn't see any new characters in this, so we heard
No,
about Trista dying.
we saw
Marlena went to what?
we saw Chris Kosachek for, like, a minute.
Yeah, Chris and Anna. We saw Anna.
Brett
And
was really the only new character.
Marlena is in Colorado to, I guess, bury Trista and visit her parents that we never see. That could still be alive.
I
We'll
will
never know.
say, even though it looked different, it was a little bit dark, so it was kinda hard to tell. That stairwell is the DiMera mansion. Like, that's the stairwell.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't tell a lot of the sets
Yeah.
because it's so grainy.
And it's funny because Stefano wasn't on for quite a few years, and what becomes, like, the '90s DiMera mansion was actually Shane and Kim's house.
Oh, really?
Like, they lived in it, yeah.
So did Stefano die? Because when I read that thing about the will, did he die already?
Maybe that was his first death.
That's a very early death. Because what did he come on in 82 and die in 83?
Yeah,
Wow.
and, I think he comes back in '84 and dies in '84.
I'm very excited to see the stories now. Now that I've seen some early stuff that lead into, I'm definitely more interested in
Mhm,
seeing like 84, 85. I want to
yeah,
continue, hopefully.
trying to think, did I forget anything else?
No, I think, I mean, it was a lot of. them, Hope taking care of him and all that. So that was it. This one didn't have too many things happen.
It's funny because there was a lot of her taking care of him, but it wasn't as much as I thought it was. Like, I really thought I think we're towards the end of it. I think he's gonna heal pretty quickly. Um,
Hopefully.
so then I think we're gonna also get into, like, Liz Chandler being in jail, for shooting Marie. Do you know who plays I don't know if we'll see her because, again, it's clips, but, the warden in prison because it's a female prison is, Darlene Connolly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
Nice.
just
I
found
love
that out
her.
recently, actually, looking at her, filmography.
Oh nice. I
So
love
she did
Darlene.
Days, and then she did Y&R, and then she was on Bold.
She's a scene stealer.
Yeah.
Oh, she was on YNR, but not as What was her name?
No,
What was I blanking?
no, she wasn't Sally Spectra. She was,
Sally Spectra.
Rose DeVille, I think.
Oh,
She stole Nina's baby and sold it on the black market, and they never got the baby back.
really?
Yeah.
And that's an 84? Oh, that was on Young and the Restless.
That was on Young and the Restless.
I'm
So, like,
very
probably,
much
like,
confusing my soaps.
87, 88.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I guess so. You said we'll see more of the murder, the murders pick up in 84. Like we'll see stuff.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Um,
I'm excited. What? How many? Well, I guess we'll talk off screen.
but all right, if you don't have anything else to add, I guess we can wrap this up.
No, we're good.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Bow and Hope 1983. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.
Bye.